Let's talk about this dynamic of serving strengths and give us kind of a quick overview of what those are.
Yeah, serving, I think, through just the naming it's the value that you bring in working with other people, the way that you are truly able to serve your community, serve people that you work with on your team, serve a project or a task that you're working on. And so again, we've got create on one side of the spectrum, and then we've got finalize on the other side of the spectrum. And this is a real close split. We're at 49% of the population are create and 51 finalize. So a real even match there. Now, creates are more designed to start. They get excited at the beginning, the new, like just the innovation of what is possible. It fires them up. And I keep using the word energized because that's truly it. It's what gets them fired up and motivated. Now, the opposite of that is when you're aware of what fires you up, you also need to be aware of what will drain you, right? And then you can manage that. So that's great. Now we've got finalize on the other end, and these people love to bring things to closure. They love to cross things off of that to-do list. They love to take someone else's vision and actually bring that to fruition. So I think this is one of those strength sets where it is so easy to see how much both of those need to exist in this world. Like the value that is so clear, but you got to be working together. You got to be mindful of who you are, and then the dance and create some systems around it to manage it.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, we had Pat Lancioni on as a guest, and Pat is definitely a create and loves to create. He's an idea factory in his business, in his life. He's just a lot of joy and energy to be around. But he realized he had to surround himself with other types of people.
Fulfillment to do the work
to get it done, because here's what happens is you can sometimes recognize a create because they got a bunch of unfinished projects at their house. They got a bunch of unexecuted ideas in their businesses, and the next thing you know, the team doesn't believe in the idea anymore, and the next time they come up with an idea, they're steaming that it's met with any type of resistance. And now it's like the old kid story, the boy who cried wolf. And now it's the boy who cried idea. And so we have to be able to create. A great example of this is I had a couple at our events, and they were in the coaching program, and she was like, "You got to fix him" type conversation, right? And I'm like, And I said, "Okay, what's up?" But he was kind of up for it. And she's like, "He just starts things and never finishes things. And he just starts things and never finishes things." And, and she was obviously a big finisher, and she felt like she was fixing up behind him all the time.
Cleaning up on aisle 5, basically.
So they had 5 acres, and he loved this. He had this mower, right? This riding mower and so on and so forth. And he'd get on and he'd ride around and he'd start cutting the grass. And then he'd notice the flange on the machine didn't work real well. So now he'd bring it into the garage and he'd start fixing the flange, and then he'd start designing a different flange. And he comes in at night and, we could do this, and I'm going to actually try to patent this and sell it back to John Deere. And you follow?
Oh, yeah.
But in the meantime, the grass wasn't done. And so I came up with a little game for him on his projects, which is to start over again. So I said, well, imagine you got your 5 acres, okay? And I had a little, it was a big rectangle. I drew out for him. I said, imagine you start this whole thing. Just do the outside and you leave it alone. Now, your wife's going nuts because she wants the grass finished. But I said, that's what I want you to do. I said, the next day I want you to come back and do the next one. And you get where this is going. It's like a series of concentric rectangles, and eventually
it's done.
It was all done. And he kind of got the gist of it. And then I said, well, how about you do that for your business? And how about you prioritize your projects, prioritize your ideas? Let me ask you, what's the best idea you have? He said, well, that's a $1 million idea. And what about this one? Well, it's a $40,000 idea. And the wife goes, that's the one he spends all his time on. So I go, oh, great. I said, how about you spend your time on the $1 million idea? Yeah. And I said, let's do with that what you did with your yard. Let's create a series of, okay, I'm going to start here, I'm going to start here, start it. Now my energy's done, great. Then the next time I'm going to start here on the next part of that idea. So that was kind of my...
it's brilliant though, because it was
a
constant state of start, and that's where he's energized. And so the fact that he was aware and you were aware, yeah.
So finalized people sometimes have a problem starting, which by the way, this was a couple. She was all about finalize. He was all about creating. One of my sons is all about finalize.
Yeah.
I find myself having lots of brainstorming late night sessions with him on how to create. And then once he knows where to start, he's off to the races.
Yep.
Thanks for watching. If you want more tips on how to think, feel, and do better, check out these videos too. Oh, by the way, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave us a like if you enjoyed the content.